kind of open. Maybe I'll jumpstart us for 20 or 30 minutes with some conversation about the market and the future, and as though I have a crystal ball. I will tell you, well, I'll get to that in a second, but so okay, some of you have pens, so write down a couple numbers. Top left, your top left, write down 16,500. Oh, I'm sorry, scratch that. Write down 4,000. Below that, write down 16,500. To the right of the 4,000, write 400. And to the right of the 16,500, write 11,000. All right, so the top line, the 4,400, is that what's up there? That was the number of listings in the greater Dallas MLS, which is, Dallas is about 6 million people over 11, 12 counties, our greater metro. It's a big market. So that was in April. That's how many listings we have. There's almost 30,000. That's one listing for every 7,000 or 8,000 agents. We were a little short on supply, like a lot of places, right? And the 400 was the number of price reductions that month.
Wow.
Wow. Okay. So the next nut line, the 16,000 and the 11,000, that was the numbers in September. So in a matter of 5 months, we went from 4,000 listings to 16,000 listings. We went from 400 price reductions to 11,000 price reductions in that month. Now, somebody said to me, they said, that's a market collapse. I said, no, that's a shift. In fact, I say, in my opinion, the market shifted on May 8th at 2:32 in the afternoon. That was the moment the market shifted where I'm at. So anyway, but we saw it was a jerk. It wasn't just a shift. It was a sudden stop. And I think it was several things. One, interest rates more than doubled. Prices have run way over what I think they were overvalued in my market. I think that's pretty true nationwide. Anyway, anything sounds similar to that? Were y'all short of supply and now you got supply? Mm-hmm. Yep. Okay. Now you're short on buyers. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And we had too many buyers, right? And buyers at every shift, and I've done, this is, I think, my 6th one. I started in fact, next month, almost to the day, in January will be my 1973. It'll be my 50th anniversary in real estate. I think I love the expression on your face. It's 21, just turned 22, so you can figure the age. And so it's been quite a journey as far as my path, as far as leadership, ownership, agent. The Keller Williams story started in 1994, so that's been 28 years, something like that. And we could talk about the journey here in Northern California. But through those 6 shifts, I've just seen a lot of stuff, and people always overreact. And in the market, somebody said to me recently, said, when are we going to see a normal market? I don't know if there is a normal market. Right. It's either sellers are getting abused or buyers are getting abused. We just came out of a phase where buyers have been abused. If you're around in 2007 to 2011, sellers got abused. Everybody has their turn, right? It's never like, oh, I feel so, everybody's just like, this is great, both sides. Somebody, whether it's tilted like this, or like this, or this, it's the market, you know. And the market itself has no emotion. It doesn't care. The market is without emotion. The only emotions come in is when we touch the market, or we have people involved in the market. And so if anything, today, maybe we can talk about, I think it was mindset for success. Anyway, we talk about mindset and how we react to what's going on in the market. And I think so let me just read a few things out of a news. I see a lot of you. This is called a newspaper. You can check with your parents or look at history. So whether it's in print like this or digital, there's some news out there.
Do you want us to show the digital up on the screen for everybody? We can do that. Because we have your presentation. Do you want us
at some point? Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just talking now. Anyway. Okay. So these are all in the last month or two. These are some of the statistics I just gave you, and sellers having various rates. And here's another headline. And so remember, people see this digital or like this, Home sales fall by 17% in September. This is my market, right? It shows the prices. And it just goes on everything. What was this one? This was just last week. Sunday paper. DFW home prices fall 3 months in a row. Now, that's the headline. And I tell the real estate editor for the paper, his name's Steve Brown. I say, Steve, you never let the facts get in the way of a sensational headline. You know, but you go, prices haven't fallen, they've cooled.
Mhm.
All right. There's a difference between going up 22% annually, which a lot of us have experienced for the last few years, versus going up 1, 2, or 5%. They haven't fallen, they've cooled. They haven't gone this way yet. And so it's usually measured year over year. I will give you, this was 2 or 3 weeks ago, I was at the NAR convention in Orlando, and I sat next to, he gave a report, and I got to talk to him on the side. I know him, the NAR economist is named Lawrence Yun, Y-U-N. He's phenomenally accurate for an economist. I've joked with him past it, you know, economists were put on this earth to make weathermen look good. And he laughs about that. But he has really been accurate. In 2021 or 2020, when COVID hit in March of that year, in April, he gave a report. He said, second quarter is decimated. Third quarter will be strong. Fourth quarter will be a record fourth quarter in the history of sales. I sent that to Gary Keller. Gary goes, Gary's a black hat thinker a little bit, a lot. And he said, that looks way optimistic to me. Well, Dr. Yun was right. It was record. And then it just has soared less for a lot of different reasons. So his report 2 or 3 weeks ago is for 2023. And understand these numbers are nationwide, and every market's going to be different, above or below. But nationally, he said unit sales in 2023 will be down 7%. Number of sales. He said prices will appreciate 1%, which is basically flat. So some markets will be down a little, some will be up more than that. I think I'm in an area where we will probably outperform that. Our units will be a little better and our appreciation will be a little more, just because we're in an in-migration hot market right now, right? Or a popular market, I won't say hot. But just know your data. Long ago, Gary Keller used the phrase, be the local economist of choice.
Mm-hmm.
Know your numbers, because I'm guessing here, is Central Valley the right way to phrase this territory?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm guessing that you may get asked, even in Central Valley, especially in Central Valley, there's a question, get prepared for it. How's the market? Anybody heard that? Yeah, they ask that in China and Poland and every place I've ever been. So they find out you're real estate. When I go to lunch at my golf club, there's this one round table I sit at, and there's usually 6 or 8 guys. I don't wear a badge. They all know I'm in real estate. Always it's how's the market? What's happening, Mike? What's going on? A year ago, the phrase was, hey, Brodie, you must be killing it in this market. And I said, no, sales are down 20%. People that are killing it are you homeowners, because you're getting the 20, 25%, 15% appreciation. Homeowners are killing it. We're having to fight, and now units are going to be down a little bit more this year. And so that's a challenge for ALCs and for market centers, is how do you manage through that? And we can, and we will. And we've got a company that's built for that. And past shifts, we've gained market share. We went into the big shift in 2007. We were number 4 in the country in size, both units and volume. We came out of that shift number 2. And now then we became number 1 in all categories. So it's not something to fear. And I will say, a competitive advantage you have is that your competition, a lot of them will mentally and emotionally quit.
Mm-hmm.
That's your opportunity to go get that market share. So this is not the time to say, well, it looks like it's going to slow down, so I'm just going to cool my heel. I'm just going to take a year off and go slow, and I'll pick it back up. What you lose in that year by not staying in the game, you'll never get back. So stay in the game, get more, and then, oh, by the way, Dr. Yun says in 2024, there will be a strong rebound.
Yeah.
Remember, he's very accurate. So you got a 1-year transition, a 1-year shift, and then the market will adjust. And that's always a caveat of geopolitical events and stuff like that. Who knows what happens with Russia or China or catastrophes or what? I mean, just we don't know. Mother Nature's undefeated. So, anyway, I'm ready for the next 50 years, and I'm excited about the future. And I love our company. I was talking to Michele out front. One of my favorite places in the world is our little southwest corner of our region called Carmel, Monterey. Okay, and I was involved when I got the opportunity to pick a region in the mid to late 90s. Gary, they had mapped out about 30 regions or master territories, and I'd done enough to get the opportunity to pick one. And first I was going to do Atlanta, Georgia, just because it's very much like Dallas. It's on the same latitude. They talk funny, we talk funny, same demographics, short hour-and-a-half flight, whatever. And I messed around and delayed, and somebody got it before me. I didn't finish my application, so I had to back up. He said, Brodie, get one. So I saw Northern California. I've been out here to conventions and golf trips. And so that's a cool area. And so I started doing the research, and it started with the Bay Area. I saw the number of agents, the number of sales, the sales price. I said, we'll just start with that and we'll build from there. And so we had to draw the line. So I got involved. Where's the territory stop? I said, can we just get the line under Carmel, Monterey? So it's in the territory, and we did. So, and then later we added Hawaii. I get asked often, how did you get Hawaii? I mean, it's just such a dream for everybody. And I said, I went to Gary Keller and Mo Anderson. I said, Hawaii's out there in the middle Pacific, lonely by itself, and your model is not big enough to be its own region. It needs to be attached to somebody probably on the West Coast. We'll take it. And they went, okay. So I asked. So too bad, Southern California. We got it. Good for them. Good for them. Good for us. So that's my second favorite place. So I'm blessed. My third is Cabo. So I don't have Cabo. So anyway, and this region is poised for growth in a shifting market. I think we've got a new regional director who, as you get to know her, is an amazing talent, an amazing leader. And I think she will drive us and inspire us to do great things as far as growth with our existing market centers and how we'll go about that, as well as adding new market centers. And there's value in adding new market centers and go and find new territories. So we have a lot of unopened territories. Is when we have new territories open, it's an inspiration for all of us. Like, oh, well, somebody else is buying it. Oh, that's good. It gives us even more overall market share. And so our company's doing great. We continue to lead the way. There's a lot of companies that have struggles. A lot of the nationally public companies are having real struggles through this market, whether it be, I mean, we know who the names are: Realogy, Compass for sure, EXP, Fathom. They've had real troubles as far, and we were looking at going public. I say the company was looking at going public this past year, and they pulled off of it early in the year and just said, no, it's not the right time, and we're not ready. We're in no rush. Maybe we will, maybe we won't in the future, etc. So, but I so trust our leadership. And when I get asked about Keller Williams, why Keller Williams? My elevator speech, to keep it short, is 4 things. Okay. First of all, and I couldn't always say this, and this is important, is we have scale. We're the largest in the world by far. We have scale, and that's big is not bad. Big is good. It gives us power. It gives us market share. In fact, we're the second most recognized brand. This is a third-party survey. We're the second most recognized real estate brand of all. I'll just tell you, number 1 is Remax, at like 86%. We're like 78% recognition. Believe me, 20 years ago, we were like 2% recognition. It was Keller who, right? And we've seen this build through that. And what's interesting, just take those 2, 1 and 2. Remax over the last 30 years has spent over $3 billion in national advertising. Their balloon, TV, magazine, radio, $3 billion to get that market awareness. And we're second, and we've not spent any national advertising. We've spent $3 billion over that 35 years in profit share. So $3 billion goes to our agents, $3 billion of theirs goes for advertising. That's a $6 billion swing. And we're right there. It's number 2 and still growing in brand. So anyway, scale is number 1. Number two is brand, which I just spoke to. We've got a great brand. I think our sign's just like when I drove up, the building sign here is just it's awesome looking. It's just clean, professional, contemporary, powerful, all that. So scale and brand. Third is toolbox. I would get on any stage with anybody and debate that we have the best toolbox. And by toolbox, I mean market materials, coaching, training, technology.
Tech guy.
Yeah, tech guy. He's going to help me pair my phone with my radio here after the thing. And that's huge. Now, when you have the greatest toolbox, all available, it doesn't mean you have to use every tool. Think about a toolbox is you go in and get what you need. You know, and then you can put it back, or you can use multiple tools. And rarely would you use all of them, but to have that all those resources available is phenomenal. And then the fourth thing, so scale, brand, toolbox. The fourth is leadership. Local, you've got phenomenal leadership. I'm not saying just because they're at the table. Well, I'm saying it for that reason too. But I want them to know. I want them to know how respected they are and how respected you are within the region, within the company, and then regional leadership. I think we've got great regional leadership. I see. I'm involved with other regions, and I see what's delivered. What they deliver on an education, training, and communication basis is unsurpassed. And I know they're always looking to improve. And then our national leadership with Gary and his reputation as probably the iconic leader in the industry is something to be proud of. And he can be a little chippy and a little controversial, and that maverick side of him is what I love. Yeah, there's nothing boring about Gary, and he's looked to. So we're with the right brand. You're in a great market. California's a phenomenal state. It's a very diverse state. It's a very rich state as far as all of its resources and just the economic engine that it is. So I love coming out here. So the market's going to be okay. It's going to be what you make it. You got 1 year to run that race and then really, really thrive from there. It doesn't mean you can't thrive this year. Many people will have their best year ever this year. And it's just go get it, because the competition is going to be a little bit softer than normal. It just will. So do I have a clicker?
I'm your clicker.
Oh, you're my clicker?
I'm your clicker.
And I don't even know what order these are in. So let's just,
Yes, when you get started. Yeah.
I'm probably going to skip the first few. I think some of them are some of this.
Here. Oh, no. Don't do that. There we go. That's what I was trying to do. So there.
You even talk your way through it, huh?
Of course.
So yeah, go to a couple more pages.
Well, regardless, I think I know a lot of what's up there, or I think I remember.
Keep going.
Yeah, this is just more headlines. So you can go through 2 or 3 of those. All right, stop right here. I love this chart. I was able to find this. What this shows is, we've seen interest rates go from 2.5% to 3% to 7+. Now it's down to about 6.5. Everybody's screaming. Buyers that were going to buy a $600,000 home can only buy a $300,000, or they go buy $1 million. Now it's going to be $500,000 if you're looking at payments. And so this is the last basically 50 years. Now, what's interesting on this chart, because the last few years, we've been looking at this 3% stuff, right?
Mhm.
And that was a part of the shift that happened on May 8th at 2:32 p.m. in the afternoon, is when the rates just started to double like that. Is on that chart, if you were to look at from 1979 to 1991, 12 years, it was double-digit interest rates. I'm going to let that sink in.
Right. That's true.
Mhm.
All right. And see, sorry, yeah, 16% at 82, 16, 13, 12, yeah. So get over it.
Yeah.
Right.
As far as 6.5, so get over it. Okay, that's phenomenal. This is not a bad market. The market we had was an unreal market, and so this is closer to the norm. I don't know. I don't think we'll see 2.5%, 3% again. I don't know. I think we're more likely to see 10% than 3%, but I think it's going to hang in this area, 5, 6, 7, maybe 7.5. That's an okay area. Once they get numb to it or used to it, or it's okay, it'll be fine. But it's also making sellers adjust to the market as well. When you have that double, In Texas, I hate to keep bringing up Texas, but in Texas in 1980, when we had all those interest rates, we had a usury law which said you cannot make a loan over 10%. So when the market was 13, 14, 15%, we had sellers paying 12 discount points to let the buyer get their rate down to 10 or less. Now, we eventually changed that 10% law, and the bankers helped change it too. And so you just do what you got to do in the market that you're in. People are still going to buy and sell a lot. And I just look at the numbers on Central Valley, and you guys are growing. A lot of it's price flight from the Bay Area. Am I right?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. And that's good for you. That's awesome. So anyway, all right, let's see. Let's go again. Yeah. But I think the main thing I think it's going to say love what you do. It's the next slide.
Why are we not moving?
Anyway, it's going to say love what you do. One of them.
There it is.
There it is.
Yay, I kind of remembered. I cannot emphasize enough the importance of loving what you do. If you don't love it, leave it. Okay. This business, I love it. And if you love it, it'll show. If you love it, people will be attracted to you. If you don't love it, it will show and they'll be deflected from you. It shows. It's like you got this little neon sign on your forehead. I love what I do. Come to me. Or it's like, really? And run away from me, right? And it's subliminal almost. And the people will read it. They will read it. So love what you do. Get enthused about it. Talk about the opportunities. Opportunities are coming. You know, I have said for the last 2 or 3 years in my market, I'm not buying any single family homes. I think they're overvalued. Now the market's going to adjust to that, and I will start looking at them again, probably the middle of this year or next year, excuse me. Yeah, maybe summer or fall. We'll see what happens. Once I feel like, because and the reason is, as an investor, prices went up this fast, rents went up this fast. So prices ran away from rents. So it was no longer as good a return on your investment because rents, the income side, was not catching up with the price of the valuation side. Now it's starting to get back in line a little. And so I think, and now my concern on that is we have some corporate buyers that are taking over a lot of the homes in this country. People like BlackRock, and there's some multi-billion-dollar funds out there. They're buying real estate, buy to rent, they're owning to rent, right? And I don't know if Congress or NAR will lobby for it, but that needs to be kept in check a little bit. I'm all for free enterprise, but I don't know if that's the fair game, but we'll see. So that's part of loving what you do. If you love what you do, it's confidence. Even if you stumble a little bit, just keep loving what you do and keep loving on people. Keep serving. I do about 2 to 4 transactions a year still. I try to give everything away to my agents in the market center. The leads I still get from having been in the business a long time and used to have a very active sales business. And the people, and the only ones I won't give to agents is if that particular, it's usually a seller, a listing. It's never a buyer. I shouldn't say never, it might be, but hey, Mike, if it's not, don't give it away. I don't want somebody on your team. If it's not you, I'll call Cindy at ABC Company because I know her too, right? Well, if he calls Cindy, she's going to give her somebody on her team. But anyway, and so in those cases, and it's usually a lot of my clientele were CEOs and athletes and at high end, more luxury. And so I'll do it. Now I've got a couple of people that are really, when I do that, they're my team. And so they get involved, but I'm there. I'm a communicator, et cetera. So I've got one coming up. He's the mayor of Plano, where I work and live, which is now 300,000 people. Very, very, I don't know, but it's a very good, excellent neighborhood. It's a wonderful city, and tends toward the high end. His dad was the mayor years ago. His parents are, assisted living now, and so they're going to sell this home. It's a magnificent home. You can probably relate to these numbers better than if I were talking to somebody in Silicon Valley, Los Gatos or Palo Alto, but it's about 6,000 feet, 5,800 feet, extremely high finishes. And we're probably putting it on the market, but it's got a lot of wood. It's very dark, almost like a castle. a lot of stone and woods, and so it's a unique property. Great neighborhood, great location. Probably going at about 2.4 million. All right. But it needs work. They had a plumbing issue in the master bath, so they're getting that redone. And anyway, and so we started this conversation 4 months ago, and they've got huge, the parents they would go to England. In fact, they met Gary Keller and his wife on a plane one time they were both going to buy antiques over there. I don't know, big, large, heavy. And so they're trying to figure out how do we stage around it? I said, we get it out. And so I found a place that can take that kind of stuff, safely store it while we prepare it for market. But it's been 3 or 4 months, which is not my style to stay in high touch with that seller. So I've got other things I'm doing, but I keep putting it in. His name's John. I won't mention his last name, but I've got him on a 10-day touch, right? Just don't let him more than 10 days go without saying, hey, how's it coming? How can we help you? Here's some information. I've already got a pre-marketing plan. I've got 3 potential buyers, but I don't want to do anything until we're ready for market, blah, 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 blah. So, and so I just, and he said, is this going to be a good time to sell? I said, yeah. I just told him last week, I said, we're going to be better if we go on the market in February, January or February than now. He said, should we rush to get it on before Christmas? I said, no. First of all, don't rush. And I said, we're going to be better to be in January or February. So just breathe, right? And so I said, but we should probably meet again because we haven't met in person for probably 6 or 8 weeks. I said, why don't we meet at the house again and talk about our marketing plan, what we're going to do, even though we're not ready for market. So I'm showing confidence. I'm offering value, and I'm showing I care, and I'm showing that I love what I do. I'm showing that I'm interested in he and his family. I mean, it's a legacy property because of the family that it's involved in, and who some of the neighbors are, which are a couple of them are very well known. So anyway, stay in touch. And then I was not an avid reader when I was younger. I was a really strong BC student, maybe a C+ student in school. I kind of underachieved, maybe I overachieved. I don't know. That's just what it was until I found out, and I got into college and found out what I wanted to do, and then became a 4-point, which was more management, leadership, those type things. And after I got through all the requirement stuff, right, like that. And then if you were to go into, and some of you may have been to Keller Williams International and been in Gary's office in it. Michele, have you been there? Candini, have you been there?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you go in Gary Keller's office. First of all, he's got it's weird. He's got like amplifiers for guitars. He's a guitarist. And, but if you look at his bookshelf, his books, and he reads a lot. His books are of CEOs, how people built great companies, leadership books, magnificent, CEO books and stuff. That's on my shelf. If you go into Mo Anderson's office, you see books on culture, on faith, on servant leadership.
Right,
You got a Bible open, and I just don't know if they are who they are because of what they read, or they read what they read. I don't know. I think it's both. I think it's who they are, and what they read feeds who they are. Right? Mm-hmm. Neither's right or wrong. It's choices. If you look at my bookshelf, you'll say, and I want to make a couple points on this. If you look at my bookshelf, you'll see a lot on leadership, but you'll see a lot on money, a lot on finance, a lot on investing, a lot on business. But I've got all the money books from Tony Robbins to Dave Ramsey to Robert Kiyosaki to all of them, okay, and more. And that's not because how do I say this? I love money for the good it can do. I love money because it gives me my big why. My big why is not money. My big why. I got asked about 5 years ago. I was on a panel in the DC area, and there was Bowman Keaty, myself, and a guy named Mark Weiss, who's a regional owner in New York. And it was a wealth building panel. And a guy named Brandon Green, who's a great facilitator, was doing the facilitating. And he gets to the end, he asks a question, which I've asked panelists 100 times when they're on a panel. I'll say, what's your big why? What's your big why? I've asked that 100 times. So we're on this, but I'd never been asked that. And I didn't know what's coming. I'm sitting on this panel and he goes, Brodie, I'll start with you. What's your big why? This is our last question. Well, I was like, it probably took me 5 or 6 seconds, probably seemed like 5 or 6 minutes. And I didn't know what I said. It's freedom. It's freedom. And let me explain that. Because when I've asked that question, people, they say, it's my children, or it's my grandchildren, or it's my travel, or it's my faith. Those are all great big whys, right? But I thought freedom, all those fall under freedom for me, because those are all big whys. They're big whys for me, but if my biggest why is freedom, I had the opportunity to explore those others even more, right? And so to me, success with finances or money is a part of freedom. All right. It allows you to have different choices. So that's not bad. And we live way beneath our means. So we've been in the same house. Another subject I like to talk about is change. I love change. I get excited about change, but I've been married to the same person for 50 years. We've been in the same house almost 50 years. I've been in the same business next month, 50 years, but I want to talk about change, right? And so we've got a second lake place, but it's modest by most standards, and we could live a lot of nice places. And so to me, it's not the money part, because and one thing about money is neither good or bad. It's like the market. It has no emotion. Money is neither good or bad until we touch it. And some people touch it for greed. And some people touch it for the good it can do. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Right. And so I like nice things, but I'm not materialistic at all. Believe me, I like having it. I like nice things. But if you came and looked at me and came to our house and looked at our lifestyle, I drive a nice car. It's an SUV, but it's a nice SUV. But there's a lot of good we can do. We're blessed to be able to be generous givers to some really causes that are important to us. So anyway, and so for me, my big why was freedom. And so I read books. And so some people have said, what's your favorite book? Well, the best book I've read in the last 5 years, it's the best business book I've ever read. And it's called The Road Less Stupid by a guy named Keith Cunningham. The Road Less Stupid. And I like to dog ear when I see things on a page on a book. I dog ear it. Then maybe I'll go back and highlight what it was on that page. Sometimes I've got references for research or go back or whatever. And if it's a 250 page book, I probably got 150 pages dog eared. It's ridiculous. It is great wisdom in that book. If you haven't read it, have you read it? Andy, have you read it? The Road Less Stupid? And it was he was interviewed by Gary Keller on one of the Zoom calls. Keith Cunningham. It's a great book. I just put it out there. So anyway, feed your head, read the fun stuff. If you want to read Jackie Collins and Danielle Kennedy, go ahead. Danielle Steele, not Kennedy. Anyway, whatever. Go ahead. Have fun. Read the fun stuff too. But
I absolutely love that quote.
This one,
Mhm.
yeah, I do too. Yeah, and I think that's particularly appropriate in this market that the shift that we're in, right? And so it's not the competition, what goes inside your head. And a lot of times we'll have people come in, well, ABC's doing this, or XYZ company, they're doing this, and they're, well, you know what they're saying? They're saying Keller Williams is doing this, right?
Yeah.
That's going on everywhere, right? And so you just can't. I noticed we've got a lake place, and it's in East Texas, and it's a very rural surroundings around the lake. Very. In fact, if you like people watching for entertainment, just go to the Walmart in that little city. It's called Gun Barrel City, Texas. How's that for a name?
Oh, wow.
Gun Barrel City, right? Go that way.
Good old Texas.
But I noticed in driving around probably an hour drive all the way around the lake or more. Going into town once, I noticed there was a dollar store. I saw a dollar store, and then another one called Dollar General, right? And then I was going across the other part of the lake, I saw the 99-cent store. Well, there's a competitive advantage, right? We'll just undercut them. You think people try to undercut us in the market? And they think that's their value proposition because they're cheaper, right? And I'll just say right now, we're not cheap because we're not cheap. That's not our value. Cheap is not our value proposition. It's service and it's value and its contribution that we can bring to it. It's not cheap. We are fair in value. And it's interesting to hear how people rationalize the cars they drive. And I've got a nice SUV, I've got a nice car. But they'll say, I'm going to buy a Mercedes. I'm buying the Mercedes because it's got good brakes. Come on. My rent car is a Kia SUV, parked right over here, and it's got good brakes.
Yeah.
Yeah, he'll buy it because it's got good brakes. That's what they want to rationalize it. They don't want to feel guilty, like it looks wrong to some people, which comes from scripts, right? And a lot of those scripts, by the way, are implanted in our head when we're young. Your views and perceptions in life have a lot to do with your family and your environment when you were growing up. They just do. And I think, and some of those scripts may be limiting on your freedom to make more money. There may be guilt attached to it. You might have heard things at dining room tables like they're growing up of. Well, the people that live over there, they got that because they were lucky, or they did something unethical, or they won the lottery, or they inherited it, or there's always a rationale as to why they're there and we were here. I do mean we. And so you got to throw those away. You got to throw those scripts away. If those are limited, those are limiting beliefs.
Right.
And so those have to be put in, they need to, and that's nothing on the environment. That's nothing on our parents or that parent figure that you had in your life, nothing at all, because that's where they came. I deal with, it's a conversation in every family. Discussions around money with my wife and I, 50 years. Okay. And it's a lot of it's around views on money, because I'm entrepreneurial. I told you I read books on money, on finance, on growth, investing, all that. And she still struggles with, she said to me the other day, and she drives a mid-size BMW 540 or something like that. She's had it, she keeps a car 10 years usually. And somehow we went by this one car wash. She said, I love having a clean car, but I just hate to pay for the car wash. I'm not gonna tell you my income or what, I mean, that should not be a conversation.
Well, we
that's-
should talk about your profit sharing.
Well, I mean, I just, and it's almost an insult, man, like, really? I worked this hard to talk about a car wash? It's so, and another is, there's something, I was talking about a weather app or something like that. I said, I think it's $1.99 a month, but it's awesome. She goes, well, I'm not gonna pay that. Okay, I mean, those are just things that go on, right? People say, how have you been married for 50 years? That when you get married that long, you get asked that question a lot. I said, well, I think my final answer is, it's like freedom on big Y, right? I think my final is forgiveness, frequent forgiveness. Frequent forgiveness both ways, right? We'll keep you there, so.
Little great.
All right, what we got next here? Let's see. Well, this is awesome. Yeah. Who you hang out with is important. Are they like our company? Boy, I want to be on the same squad as Gary Keller.
Yes.
Right.
I do, and I'm so proud of that. And so, who you surround yourself, and we've all. How many of you heard you're the average of the 5 people you hang out with the most, or something like that? All right, let me break that down a little bit. First of all, don't get hung up on the number 5. It might be 3, it might be 7 or 8, but there's a small core group that is going to affect how you learn. So choose them carefully. Also, let me not debunk it, but add something to it. The 5 can change. You're not fixed forever with those 5, right? When I was younger, I had a couple guys. I'm from Dow. I grew up in Texas, but my senior year of high school, I moved to Iowa, Des Moines, Iowa, which turned out to be good. It's a long story. I won't go into it. And I was going to go right back and either go to SMU or University of Texas. And then my dad got ill. So I stayed in Iowa for a few years, went to college there, started at a junior college. I met 2 guys there, Bill and Marty. We became best friends. So here we are 50 years later-ish, and we're still great friends, but they're not my 5. Back then they were in my 5, but they're not my 5 now. I still love them dearly. I try to go to Iowa every year to see them and hang out and stay in touch. We've taken all different paths. Marty he was a loan officer for Chrysler Financial. He became a little manager of the department there. He's retired now and works part-time as a loan officer for a bank just by choice. And Bill was into auto parts. His uncle had an Napa auto parts store, and then he achieved his life goal when he became the manager for, is it Kate, not Kate, I think it's the manager for the auto department at Costco's in Iowa. Boom. That was his pinnacle, right? And he's retired now too. And then I've taken a different path. All three different paths, three happy people, three close friends, right? But I don't see them on a day-to-day basis. We're not frequent. But so if they're not your five, doesn't mean you don't care about them or you don't love them. But those 5 or 7 or 3 are important. And they're people that you can learn from. They can encourage you. They can inspire you. You probably can do the same for them. And if I were put it into a metaphor for sports, I think it's Rory McIlroy or Tiger Woods or one of them says, if you get better in golf, play with people who are better than you. Don't try to play with people worse than you so you can beat them, because eventually you're going to migrate toward them. Play with people better, you'll be inspired to be better, to get closer to them. And so just without mentioning, among my 5, couple of them are people you would know actually, but 1 or 2 others are one's a retired executive from a company called Accenture, and he's one of the guys that took it public, and he's 1 year younger than me. Phenomenal guy. We do investing together. We do angel funding. Through the angel funding is like through a university. We use Baylor Angel BAN, Baylor Angel Network, where it's like Shark Tank. People come in, they make their pitch, and you decide if you want to invest in that company or not. And then if it ever, once you get your return, whatever the profit is, you dedicate a percentage to, in this case, Baylor, right? The first angel network ever was Stanford. How many of you have heard of Sun Microsystems? You ever heard that? Sun Micro, well, Sun, SUN, stands for Stanford University Network. And it was an angel funding network for this company called Microsystems. It became Sun Microsystems, and of course, boom. Right. So they were kind of a leader in that right here in California, right? That's okay. And then, action conquers fear. Don't sit around and worry about it. Go do something. Go kick ass. All right. Excuse me. But don't sit down and fret and fear. Go get out and do something. All right. Take action, whatever it is. Have no fear. Action will overcome fear. Right. And you don't start at the finish line. I think probably this next one, the mountain. Oh no. Oh, there's young people at this table. So this should inspire you, young people. There's your founding fathers. Several past presidents of the United States on there, right? Look at their ages.
It's too late for me. I'm 41.
That's a pretty good 4 group. Who you hang out with? That's a pretty good 5 or 15 or whatever in that group. So, and then the man, And then the man on top of the mountain. I'm sorry, it doesn't say the person or the woman. This is an exact quote from Lombardi. I got called on that. The person on top of the mountain did not go there. All right, I'm good with that. And what happens, I believe, regardless of the height of the mountain, for many people, once you get to the top of the mountain, you know what you see? Another mountain. And you go again. And then you go again. And you may eventually settle, but all the fun phrase, like it's slowly at the top. No, it's not, because you get to choose. It's a choice, right? And but it's also not crowded, and you'll probably see another mountain once you get there. So, but you got to go through valleys and bloody knees, broken bones, and hurt feelings, and all that on your way up to the top. And then this is the last slide, I believe. It's maybe one more, but your Gay for Life Begins Now. This is a sign at the exit of the Pro Football Hall of Fame in Canton, Ohio. I went there a few years ago with my son-in-law. We went to see a Cowboys game at Pittsburgh. We went a day early, went there. It was cool. And as you leave, this is a sign on the door at the exit. Now, looking at the colors, probably came from Pittsburgh Steelers locker room or something. It just says, your game for life begins now, right? The great coach Tom Landry, Cowboys, he once said, you got 100% of your life left. Wherever you are, you got 100% of your life left, right? So don't think, well, I'm down to 20%. No, you got 100% left, so just go. no, why limp to the finish line? Go charge through, right? And so anyway, you guys are awesome. Thank you.
Let's
And-
talk about a few other things though. Do you have
What's that?
time? About your profit share and how.
Yeah, I'm done. I'm no shut up. Y'all ask questions or shoot on me.
I was part of your class or mastermind you did at family reunion. And you had a lot of information to share, right? You and oh my goodness, I couldn't think of the other guy's name.
Aaron Kaufman.
Yes, it was phenomenal. So yeah, just give us a couple liners of that, of that meeting.
Can you be more specific?
No, I can't because
Okay.
everything was so good. Okay, so you and I both agree it just takes one person.
Right.
And you don't know if it's somebody you're gonna add to your profit share today, or if it's somebody you added 10 years ago.
Right. That's absolutely right. I've got about 40 or 45 people at my first level.
Mhm.
I've been here 20 something years or 25, 27 years. But total, all 7 levels, it's over between 9 and 10,000.
Right.
So from 40 up here, now 40 up here is less than 2 a year. That's kind of embarrassing. Now, there've been more there, but some didn't stay 3 years and so they're out. But of that 40, let's just take that first line, probably 80-20, probably 5 to 8 of them are the ones that really built it. They went out and did massive stuff, right? And so I didn't know at the time who you just go share. You
Right.
don't know who that influencer would be, who that Pied Piper is going to be. And you just don't know. Now, the guy that recruited me, he didn't recruit me. He made the phone call to get an appointment with me and a lady named Althea Osborne, who owned the North Texas region at that time. That region was in default. I didn't know who he was. He had a great script when he called me. And it's a script I use today. I modify it. You have to modify it a little bit. But basically, at that time, I was at Remax. I was in sales. It was a very powerful Remax. It was number 3 in the world, number 1 in Texas, a very powerful office. I wasn't number 1. I was maybe in the top 5 or 6 agents, right? And but I was real visible in the community, real estate community, et cetera. And so I get a call one day, and it's just me and my assistant. This is in the early 90s, 93 or 4. And I got this small office, about the size of this desk, maybe, and had a phone with a cord on it, one of those things. That's another research. It's like a newspaper. All right. And so it rings, and Cheryl, my assistant, wasn't there. So I picked up, hello, this is Mike. Hey, Mike, my name's Darren. You don't know me, but I know you. Everybody knows you. And congratulations on having built such a great reputation. Reason for my call, and I know you're busy. In ball of pictures, you're happy, successful, and unapproachable. But would you just, because of your wisdom and experience, would you give me 15 minutes over a cup of coffee to critique a new business model that may be coming to town? That's a great script. Because I would have said, I like my broker. I'm happy. I'm not thinking about changing that. But he just, right. He complimented me. And I'm going like, after he said all that, I'm going, I kind of like this guy. I said,
Sounds like.
and I just said, all right, I'll give you 15 minutes. And so let's meet tomorrow. He said, let's meet tomorrow. I said, let's meet tomorrow at the Bridge Cafe. This is before Starbucks, around the corner from where we were. And so I'm sitting there at a table waiting at 10 o'clock. Here comes a man and a woman in, and it's him, Darren, who I didn't know, and Althea Osborne, who I didn't know. And we sat and talked, and they started talking, and I'm going, oh, that's interesting. That's risk-free 100%. You're empowering the agents, agent leadership. What's that about? And then they got to profit sharing. And that's where I started asking questions. And Althea, who was the top profit sharer for many years, said, Mike, it's like mailbox money. It just shows up. She said, I'm going to make 30 in Austin. I'm going to make $35,000 this year in a profit share. And my degree's in finance. I said, that won't work. You're only paying 18,000 in. That won't work. I didn't understand the model yet. Well, after the next 2.5 hours, I understood the model. 15 minutes turned into 2.5 hours. It was a perfect example of when the student's ready, the teacher will appear. I wasn't looking. I was happy. I was pretty good. I was coaching baseball. I was teaching CRS classes. I was doing well enough in sales. And I just went like, boy, I got my entrepreneur urges. I said, anyway, short story is, I said, let's do it. But I told her, I said, we need to build a flagship. Do I have your support? I'm not going to I'm not gonna nickel, I need to know, will you give me the support to build a flagship? We can save this region for you. And we want to build something that's so good that everybody else around there says, I want one of those, which is what we did. And now the North Texas region, I think it's number 3 region in the country in royalties and profit share. It's worked out pretty well, very well. But that, and Darren, the real key point to the story is the guy who called me, that great script, found out later he was a telemarketer for Althea because she was in default. She had hired somebody to get appointments for her. And she would drive up from Austin for 3 days each week and meet with those appointments. She was trying to save her region, which she either needed to get a certain agent count or a certain royalty count or something like that. And so she had hired him as her telemarketer for appointments. And he was really kind of, he was a jerk. I didn't like the guy really. He was good. He had a great voice, you know. And so when it came time, so I spent some time with Althea. I spent a lot of time with Gary, once in Austin. He came to Dallas once. And after 2 or 3 months of courtship, I said, okay, I'm in. And I told Althea, I said, I figured out the profit share. I was going to pick Gary, but I'm going to pick you because Gary's yours. If I understand it, we'll be in alignment, right? And she says, no, you need to pick Darren. And I said, I don't like Darren. I like you. I like Gary. I don't like Darren. She said, I would have never met you if it hadn't been for Darren. The right thing to do is to pick Darren. Well, wow, was that a lesson? And by the way, and I've probably done that 40 times in my career. People want to pick me. I said, no, you need to pick Michele. No, or you need to, that was a great lesson. And Darren, he has 4 people at his first line. It's a long way to get back to your question. He has 4 people on his first level. His annual profit share is $300,000 a year.
That's
And he's gone to EXP. What an idiot. And he's not even in sales. He's not even active in real estate sales. He just went over there, put his license over there. I'm going, now he's going to get a shock next year when I believe that there's a little preview, peek behind the curtain. I think in February, the International ALC is going to have a vote to take away profit share from people who've left us and gone to a competitor.
Yep.
At first I wasn't for it.
Yeah.
After studying, I'm all for it.
The
Yeah.
rule that if you leave
So-
AW, you can
Moving
use the profit
forward,
share.
you can't go back.
Huh?
He's vested.
Moving forward, you can't change
Yes, we can.
the past.
Yes, we can. According to all the legal counsel, if the IALC, it's in there. That's not the way we've talked about it, but they have the right to do that. Now, they know lawsuits will come, but they are fully prepared to defend it. And I think they're going to take away 90% of it. They're going to let them stay in the tree, but they can only keep 10% of their. And so the rest of that will flow to whoever's up level from them, stuff like that. So,
Oh, that's sweet.
yeah,
Wow.
but they will have 6 months
To
to
figure it out.
return.
Back.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Here's
So-
the option.
Yeah.
Make
Say,
your
welcome home.
Yeah.
So I think, now I can't say if it's going to pass or not. I think it'll be heavily debated, but I think it'll pass.
That's if they go to a competitor, but if you retire, that's another story.
That's another story.
Right.
No.
Was there any other?
It'll be up to the local market center leadership to say, Jimmy, who went over there, is competing with us.
Right.
Or he's trying to recruit, even if you hadn't recruited, you'd say he's at a competitor. So KWI can't go out. It's going to be market center to market center, say, here's our list. So it'll be, see, that's going to add some entertainment to next year. Besides all this market stuff, right?
Sure will.
Yeah,
Check
that's
it
the
out.
sideshow, right? What else, Michele? Does that kind of answer your question?
Yes, it did. Thank you so much.
I do have a question, Mike.
Can you talk louder so everybody
yeah.
on Zoom? Yeah.
Earlier, you first started off giving us some numbers and you said in Q1 23, units will be down by approximately 23%. Is that versus Q1 22?
No,
7%.
I didn't say that. I don't think. Let me correct myself.
It's 7%.
7%.
Yeah, for the year, not
Yeah.
Q1. For the year, the units will be down 7%.
Yeah.
For the year, and that would be from year over year, 22 to 23. So units this year are going to be down about 22% when it's all over.
Gotcha.
Next year, they'll be down 7% from that new.
An additional 7.
Additional 7%.
Is that like a terrible thing because, I mean, the first half of this year, for the most part, was still climbing, right?
Right. Yeah, until May 8th at 2:32 p.m.
Especially after that day. I remember that day, but, that's not a terrible 7%.
No,
It's like-
no, no, and remember, so we went down 22, now we're going down another 7. And then he says, and there's no number to this, strong rebound in 24.
Okay.
So,
So a quick question, I don't know if you could talk about it at all. In our Realtor magazine that just came out, it's, I mean, and I've seen it in the news that they are trying to change our commission structure in California. Have you heard about that? As far as who pays what and that it will be negotiable and the
There's a
buyers.
class tomorrow with CBAR, I believe, isn't it tomorrow? I think it's tomorrow.
Okay,
So you may, it's on.
Oh, you may not know
Facebook
this.
group.
because you're from Texas.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know everything from Texas. No, I'm kidding.
Okay, sorry. Then we'll.
No.
We'll have to table that.
Then one last question then is, what is the main thing, as an agent that, you built your profit share on? Like, did you do advertising, marketing, word of mouth? How did you grow your profit share so much?
My enthusiasm and passion for Keller Williams, I shared it with people, and it was a recruitment process.
And you
Okay.
shared it with people, every, normal, anyday people? Or
Co-op transactions. I had a national network. I'd been speaking for, at that time, 12 or 13 years, ultimately 20 years before I was quit for the CRS designation. Do you know about that?
Yeah.
designation? Great designation, by the way. I was on their master faculty. And so I knew people from teaching around it, and I got some calls. Say, hey, Brodie, what are you doing? One of them, I'll never forget, a guy named, gosh, not Peter, Paul. Peter, Paul. That sound, yeah, no, I got it. No, Paul Finger from Denver, Colorado. He was a Remax buddy and active in CRS. And when the word got out that I just made a move, he called me jokingly as a fan. He said, Brodie, what are you doing? You're going to that, what do you call it? He said, you're going to that Amway of real estate.
Yeah.
He called it. So you can be defensive. And I said, so I was, I just said, hey, Paul, thank you. Well, first of all, thank you for calling. Secondly, thank you for the compliment. And by the way, did you know Amway has created more millionaires in the United States than anybody else except Microsoft at that time? Well, there was some ping silent. And I said, so thank you for the compliment. And said, by the way, one thing about that, this is just about relationships. You don't have to buy a product and store it in your garage with Keller Williams, right? And so then I heard the paint store. Oh, you're Sherwin-Williams. Oh, you're that paint store. I went through all of it. We went from zero brand Keller Who to number 2 in the world now, right? So, so anyway, it's relationships, and people will notice and they'll call you and say, hey, it's still a best kept secret. We still need to tell more people, and we just started. I just got made. They didn't ask for my approval as OP. They just said, here's what we're doing. And so we're on our team leaders on a campaign right now, $50 gift card if you just give her a name, whether they join us or not. If they meet with her, and they give the names and they help make it, we'll give them
That
just
sounds
for the
like fun.
leads, right? I'm not saying you do that, but I mean I take that chance. Yeah, if I got 20 leads, what's that, $1,000?
Mhm.
I'll take my chances on that. Okay, you just need one hit. You're good, right?
So would you, if you continue to build your profit share tree, would you focus on new agents or experienced agents?
Yes.
And
You had to choose one.
both.
If I can choose one, experienced. Yeah, because they're already in production. They're already going to be contributing to profit, et cetera. Yeah. So if I could choose one, and with new people, you just don't know. I mean, I've seen new people. Just this year, in my market center, we go to the local real estate school. And if we sponsor breakfast tacos or lunch salads, we get a 10 or 15-minute commercial, right? In front of the audience. And so, or in fact, the students. And so I've been 2 or 3 times. I've never been, but this year they asked me to go. And so I would go and I'd give the scale brand toolbox leadership speech, right? Anyway, but I look at the 80 people in that room. And I'm going, excuse me, I look around, I'm going, I'm sorry. I'm just judging a book. I shouldn't, I'm going like, Because I know 80% of them won't be in the business in 5 years, if that many. And, but we gotta be careful with, is the one that looks so prototypical perfect. And they've got it all. And I'm going like, this is my rock star. They're gonna take me to the next level. And and then the others, I'm going like, man, I wish they would clean it up a little bit, man. And they go, boom. So you just gotta be careful. You don't know what that you don't know what that fire, you don't know what that drive is. You know, what's that passion? How much do they love it, right? And,
When I was at family reunion, or mega camp a couple months ago, there on the floor, there was a 6'5" guy dressed in leather and shredded jeans and tatted out and piercings all over his face. And I'm like, good for him.
He's probably killing it.
Yeah.
probably is,
There's
right?
a lot of people in
Right,
that market.
right.
Yeah.
And who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows? Yeah, who knows? Who knows who his five are?
Yeah.
The baby rock stars, whatever. So, yes, sir.
Mike, with 175 agents with Keller Williams now, 175,000 agents. Is the opportunity still there to create a profit share?
Well, the answer is yes, because about 20% of those, let's just say 20%. What would that be? 35,000? Quick math, okay. 35,000 are gonna leave. That 20 to 25% are gonna leave. So let's say 35 or 40,000 leave this year. So that takes you down to 135. Let's just say 40, all right? So we got to replace, and Gary and Mark King want to grow. Let's say they want to go to 190. We got to replace the 40, all right, and get another 15. So there's 55,000 people that we will bring in this year. And the one thing in common with all 55,000 that come in, not the ones that left, they've all got one thing in common. They all have to sign something that says, my sponsor is.
Mhm.
And so the question is, how many of the 55,000 will choose you? And it's just as direct as I can be. Yeah.
Do you
So
stay in touch?
it keeps replenishing. Right.
Do you stay in touch, like have a campaign or something for your profit share at all?
I don't.
However, what an amazing idea.
Mm.
People should be doing that.
No.
Mhm.
Yeah, it is a great idea. So
I do it for my K-score people.
Yeah.
As
Yeah.
well, yeah,
Yeah. That's a whole nother opportunity.
right, oh my goodness, yes,
Yeah.
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 On that note.
Part of the
Mike,
toolbox. That's all part of the toolbox. So.
This is pretty amazing, thank you so much. Right. Unplug.
Thank you so much. That was
Thanks,
good.
man. Thank you so much for that. Hey, Zoomers. Okay. Both of you.
No, there was that. There was more.